Don't worry about how or where to begin. As long as you keep moving, your success will be far from where you start. Kevin Kelly. My friends, each and every day, 10 to 15 minutes, that's all we ask. And I do have something to ask from you additionally. If you have topics you would like for me to prepare training videos on, I am happy to do so. Now, I'm going to put at the end of today's video for all the new people listening, if you want to understand very succinctly the three-wave trading that we do, that is from the weekly, the 2-day, and the half-day, I'm going to put that introductory video at the end of today's video. So you'll see it at the end. Watch that first. Whatever else that generates. We have videos, of course, on the Heikin Ashi candlesticks, on the volume, how those two go together and how they play out. Of course, my book is available for Patreon members, Three-Wave Trading Advantage. If you sign up at any of the levels, you get that book automatically, along with Options Made Simple, The Charting Wealth Way. Those things are all available, but if there's specific topics, things you don't understand about how we track these markets, how we run out our profits, cut our losses short, what we do to do that. I have a lot of trainings on those things. And of course, if you go to the training section of the website, you'll see a bunch of those. But whatever you have that you're just not getting on a daily basis and from the trainings that we publish, I really would put it in the comments to the YouTube video, email them to us, cw@chartingwealth.com. I want to make sure you guys are getting what you need, because I see coming a real market rotation and a pullback. And I see some things happening in the future. Not sure how long. I've been talking about it potentially starting a couple of weeks ago when things slowed down. Now today we see the S&P 500 pulling back, the NASDAQ pulling back pretty significantly at 1.36%. We see Bitcoin down 2.80%. Again, we see gold pulling back some, but gold's just sort of been iffy. Still is just sort of sliding sideways. But I really want us to be prepared. I want you to have the tools you need to be able to read these charts and react. And of course, I hope you practice trading with us every day. Let's just go ahead and jump right in. We see stocks are down along with gold and Bitcoin. The only thing up for the day, and that's 0.58%, is 20-year U.S. government bonds. Now, we see last week where things peaked up. Then we see this week where things have slowed down. We've not hit the high of last week. We can see where we are 2 days in on the volume. Not anything to really write home about. And we look at where we are on the Tuesday, Wednesday, 2-day candle. We've got a doji there. Volume's not halfway toward what it was before or even the average line. We'll see if it makes it up tomorrow. Volume, however, on the half day was pretty good. It was higher than average in the morning and just a little bit above average. We had some ranging around in the morning, but down in the afternoon, still above the weekly trend line on both the half day and the 2-day. And of course, we have a green candle on the weekly, so we'll continue to wait, watch, and see. My friends, we have not had a red down candle going all the way back to the week beginning the 7th of April, and that was a big week with the interim low, high volume, then the 2 dead weeks, a green spinning top and a doji, and then, of course, this inexorable march upward to higher and higher highs. And again, we're watching to see if indeed there's going to be some catalyst that rolls this market over hard and drives it down. We saw that happen back in mid-February where things had an interim top and then a rollover through February all the way into early April, and then things turned around. So let's wait, watch, and see. We are still long. We are still, decently long on the S&P. Backtest accuracies remain the same for a while, as has the upward probability. And again, we rerun those numbers fresh every day, which means I don't keep the numbers in and run them based upon what we've seen before. I do a clean run each and every day. So our directional probability has remained the same on the the S&P for many, many days. And on the NASDAQ, it has done the same, as has the backtest accuracy. So again, as we look at things and the market looks like it's slowing, but we've seen a red down candle on the 2-day that went back to the 1st of August. Again, haven't seen any on the weekly. We saw another one back on the 18th of June and another one back on the 22nd of May. So again, we've had a couple of pullbacks on the 2-day, but nothing on the weekly. And again, we'll see how this latest one, there could be a catalyst that rolls it over. There could be an exogenous event that the market somehow knows about that could be coming. It's just weird how the market seems to know things, and they are foretold to us many times. Like prophecies in the Bible, you don't realize what they mean until after. But here, again, I'm just watching, waiting, seeing. You know, it's this latest red down candle has come much sooner than, of course, they did previously. So maybe we're getting toward a top. I don't know, but I'm just waiting, watching, seeing. Still long. Now, the NASDAQ pulled back even more, 1.36%. Again, we can see a little green candle, not reaching anywhere near that high of highs last week with all that volume. You can see on the latest 2-day candle sitting right there. I mean, right in the middle of the trend line, the tail pushing through, the wick, bottom wick pushing through. Okay, on the volume, you can see where the tail on the morning candle pushed through the weekly trend line, as did the candle itself on the half-day trend, the half-day candle pushing through the weekly trend line and all the volume. So we'll keep an eye on stocks and see just where they are going. Now, bonds going the opposite direction. Only thing going the opposite direction after 1, 2, 3 days of strong down movement pushing through the weekly trend line. The 2-day also 3 days of red candles, well, 3 days below, let's say, the weekly trend line on the 2-day chart. We see a day of some up movement, 0.58%, so a little over 0.5%. Nothing just jamming right back through the weekly trend line, but we do keep an eye on it. Remember last week we had a doji with almost average volume on that weekly chart. So again, we'll keep an eye on things. I would suspect, and running the numbers, we see that we are leaning toward a continued bearish move down in 20-year U.S. government bonds. Maybe this is just an anomaly popping up for the day and it'll keep moving down. That is where the weight of the past is pushing it in that direction. Let's look at gold. That is a horizontal trend line. You know, that's not good for much anything, like a dead body. What is happening? Well, we're trying to let gold sort its way out. It's down 0.55%. You can see on the half-day chart as things started, you know, jacked up strong back on the 1st of August, moved up until the afternoon of Friday, the 8th of August, and then pretty much down since then. It hasn't lost everything it gained, but it's close to it. And of course, that's resulted in this sideways slide. We will keep an eye on gold and see if our probability right now, it is about 50-50. You can call it either way, which means we don't trade anything like that. We're waiting for gold to give us some indication as to where it's going to go, and that hasn't happened yet. Now, Bitcoin pulled back 2.80%. So as we look at where Bitcoin has been, it has flipped over from being bullish to being bearish. And again, I've told you guys the whole time as it's been doing this and sort of ranging back and forth. I hadn't put a lot of stock in either of those moves, not been calling it really long, not been calling it short for sure. And I don't put a lot into it so far, just waiting, watching, seeing. We don't have a lot of volume. You can see we don't have a lot of volume on the 2-day. That is over 3 days now. We do have red down movement pushing through the weekly trend line on both the 2-day, the weekly, and the half-day. And of course, it has been going down on the half-day since Thursday. And this may eventually rotate everything over and blow all that off. But what did I tell you guys to watch? I said if the market goes hard south, I've watched this year after year after year with Bitcoin and gold. Everybody thinks, oh, well, if the market crashes, Bitcoin's going to rocket, so is gold. My friends, that's not the way things work. If you think they are inversely related, you are wrong. Now, that can happen later. This is what I've watched again and again. This is what you get from being in the market every day, like I am for years and years and years on end, is you watch how things work. I remember naively thinking, oh, the market's going down. I need to get into gold. I need to get into Bitcoin. I need to get into bonds. Well, what happens so often when the market does roll over, if it is rolling over or portending to roll over, people are covering their shorts by selling their positions in bonds, in Bitcoin, and in gold. And at least for the short term, if the market starts to crash, everything goes down together. That's an interesting one, isn't it? It sounds like it's counterintuitive, but when you know why, it's not. Because people are having to cover their margins, they're having to cover their shorts, they're having to cover their losses, and they're selling everything. And what happens when you get more supply and the same amount or less in demand? You get a reduction in price. It's called supply and demand, basic economics. So that may happen. That may be sort of what we're seeing here with gold and Bitcoin blowing off some energy today as the markets roll down. So keep your eye on it. Know that. Put that in the knowledge bank. See how it works for you. Just because I say it doesn't mean it's true. It has to hold up in your experience. It's about you. It's about the way you trade. It's about your knowledge, what you know, and what works for you. Everybody needs a personalized way of doing things. I am not your guru. Don't believe everything you're told. Prove it to yourself. Listen, try it out, see if it works for you. And remember, we're an education firm. We're not a Bitcoin, gold, bond, or stock calling service. We're just here to lead you on the path of knowledge and empowerment. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth. If you appreciate what we do, support us by becoming a Patreon member, and you get all those great benefits. The book, Options Made Simple, The Charting Wealth Way. And of course, you get each and every day the 5-day plus ETF trading analysis and execution plan emailed to you and uploaded to the Patreon site. God bless.